Sai Ram, I offer my most humble pranams at the lotus feet of beloved Bhagawan. Dearest Swami, respected elders, dear brothers and sisters. So the theme today is about destiny and the role of effort. This is a question that keeps bothering us, which sometimes encourages us to put effort, which sometimes discourages us from putting efforts. When I put in effort and I see a proportional result coming, it encourages me to put in more and more effort. And when I put in effort and I don't see a proportional result coming, and more so when I see somebody else not putting effort and getting some result, especially that, it makes me lose my faith in this effort. Why should I put effort? Maybe it's destined like this. That's when, thoughts of destiny come up. We begin to wonder whether even efforts are destined. Some of us, if we have a spectrum, effort here, destiny here, some of us are on this point, who say that, there's nothing like effort, everything is destined. And then you'll give examples. You'll give examples of probably a person who was born with polio and went on to win a gold medal in the Olympics, Vilma Rudolph. And they will give you 100 other examples of people with polio who put in the same effort but didn't even walk in their life. And say, what is this? Then you say, then how did Vilma Rudolph do it? Yeah, she was destined to do it, that's it. She was destined that her effort will succeed. She was destined to put in that kind of effort. I prepared my talk. Yeah, you were destined to prepare for your talk. So, your effort is also destiny. And then we have some other on this end of the spectrum. Everything is effort. Then what about destiny? You see, whenever you put in effort and you get a result, it makes sense. But there have been times when you put in efforts and it doesn't make sense. So you put in effort and come up with new theories of karma and destiny and all in order to fulfill this, that's all. The concept of destiny itself is because of human effort. Because no other animal believes in destiny. It's only humans who believe in destiny. So just like your scientific theory, destiny is also a philosophical theory that you have come up with in order to fulfill and feel some kind of justice in this universe. So we have two ends of the spectrum. One end completely believing in destiny, one end completely in effort. And yes, all of us in between somewhere. Because I remember on one forum I had actually posed this question. What is life about? Is it destiny or self-effort? And there was one person who had actually answered that 34.5% of life is self-effort. I don't know how he got that statistic that 66% is destiny. Maybe his life he felt like that. So as I say, there's a whole spectrum in between who believe that, yeah, this much is effort, 50% effort, 50% destiny, various things. So therefore, what I'm saying now is not the absolute truth. I shall just share a few experiences and quote from Bhagawan. And let me confess, selectively quote from Bhagawan, because for every quote I produce, somebody will be able to produce a counter quote. And I have no answer because both things have been said by Bhagawan. Bhagawan says, when you go and ask your father for something, do you go and say, oh father who works for ICICI Bank, one who is so handsome, who sports a French beard, one who is 6 feet tall, one who is always kind, please buy me a watch. He said, no, you'll go and say, Dad, I want a watch. Then he says, why do you come to Swami and say, oh Karuna Sindho, Deena Bandho, Daya Sagara, Kripa Karo, my mother is sick. Why? Why do you go into buttering Swami like that? So Swami says, this is your right. Just like you ask your father, you ask your mother, ask Swami. Ask God whatever you want. It's your right. The same Swami in another discourse says, Adugakuve o manasa, O mind, do not ask. What you ask will not be given. When you don't ask, it will automatically be given. This is a poem in Telugu. So now Swami, what do you want me to do? You want me to ask or you don't want me to ask? when this question came to me, the answer that came was, in science, in grade 8, that was in my times. Now I think they learn it in grade 6 itself. Children are being smarter and smarter as they are born. Nowadays, babies are born with iPads in hand. That smart they have become. So, in my times, in grade 8, in my father's time in college it was, we would study the Bohr's theory of the atom that explains the atom as a central nucleus with protons and neutrons inside, and electrons are going around like planets. Now, this is a very, very primitive model of the atom. Today we have the quantum mechanical model of the atom, which speaks of probabilities. It's very complicated. In fact, the father of the quantum theory says that if you say that you understand quantum theory, it means you don't understand quantum theory. Because it's so complicated, you can't understand it actually. That's how it is. So my question is, once you know that Bohr's theory is wrong, it doesn't work. It works, it's a simplification which works only in certain cases. If this is like this, 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 then this equation works. It's a special case equation. It's not the correct one. Then why do you still teach it in grade 8? If there's a professor and you go to him and say, explain the atom to me, the professor will ask, which class are you in? 8th grade? Then listen. The Bohr's theory says, oh, you're in college? Okay, listen, the quantum mechanical, and there are intermediate models also. So I asked the professor, why are you being a cheat? Why are you teaching wrong things? No, I'm not teaching wrong things. This has to be taught gradually. At that level, that suits them. That's fine. So too, I don't know whether asking God is a higher level or not asking God is a higher level. But I know this much, that both are different levels. So great. So which level is for me? Okay, you are giving all levels. Now which class I am in, I don't know. I don't know which class I am in, so what should I take? The best way to answer this is go to somebody who has listened to Swami's discourse and ask, you heard Swami's discourse for 1 hour. What did Swami say? The way Swami stressed on, thinking of God irrespective of what happens. That is the most, So Swami's talk, Swami's discourse was on Namasmarana, thinking of the Lord's name. You go to somebody else, he'll say, I really like that Chittakasha, Chidakasha, Bhutakasha, the way Swami linked it. It was amazing. Oh, Swami spoke on the Akashas, okay. You go to another person, Swami, he says, serving mankind, You all were in the same discourse or you have heard different discourses? We have all heard the same discourse, yet different things have inspired each one of us. So Swami has made his classroom so universal where I will deliver multiple lectures and according to your level you will receive your message. That is the beautiful thing. So if you got inspired when Swami said, ask, whom else if not God, then that is your path. If you got inspired when Swami said, shut up, don't ask, God knows everything, then that's your path. There is no one answer. So also, that's why I said, when I bring up quotes from Bhagawan or things that Swami has said about destiny and self-effort, those are things that match my level of evolution and my theories which I am comfortable with. Of course, they are debatable. So what I am saying is, if you debate with me, I will not get convinced because I am comfortable with my theory. You can be comfortable with your theory. So now, when I was thinking on what is my actually feeling of destiny and self-effort, the saying that comes to mind is what Swami says, that what you meet in life is destiny, how you meet it is self-effort. So this is my foundation, this is what I strongly believe in. So therefore I am 50% destiny, 50% self-effort, that kind of a person. Safe it is, neither straying on the other side, give 50-50. Somebody had once asked me, you may be 50-50, tell me which is 51, which is 49. They want to know which side I tend towards. I don't know. I'm 50-50. But if I'm literally forced to say 51-49, because I feel I'm an optimist, I feel I give 51 to effort and 49 to destiny. So otherwise it's 50-50. So when I was thinking of this, I came across an interesting story which I felt summarized what I feel about destiny and self-effort. The story goes like this, that there is a sage whom 2 young men go and meet. And the sage tells one person, you know what, you're going to die in 1 year, that's your destiny. It's written there. And that man is demoralized. The other person, he looks and says, Hey, you're going to be a king in 1 year. He's thrilled. He's going to be the king. So one of the young men is going to be a king, one of them is going to die in 1 year's time. So they both go back. It so happened that the person who is going to be the king starts behaving like a king already. The arrogance comes in, the pomp, the expenditure. I'm going to be a king anyway, let me get used to the lifestyle. On the other hand, the person who is going to die suddenly becomes humble. Suddenly, death is usually viewed in a negative sense, but it's such a powerful motivator, When King Parikshit knew that he's going to die in 7 days, he ended up gifting the humanity with Bhagavatam, the story of Lord Krishna. Because he said, I don't want to do anything else. Oh God, I'm going to die in 7 days. I don't want to do ruling the kingdom. I don't want taxing the people. I don't want agriculture. No. I want to listen to the Lord's stories. In fact, I remember a few years back, the onset of summer would bring in sorrow for the final year students in the college. Because, now we are going to pass out and, this proximity, physical proximity, we are no longer students, we'll be alumnus, we'll be alumni, we'll be ex-students. And especially for students who are part of the bhajan group. Oh God, we won't be singing anymore in front of Swami. So you should see, especially if the last college day is 15th of April, they will be there. And 15th of April, bhajans will be mind-bogglingly awesome. Because everybody will be giving their best. Why? Because this is my last bhajan, This is my last bhajan in Swami's presence. 1 year it so happened that the Malayalam New Year and Tamil New Year came back to back on the 14th and 15th of April. And on 13th evening after the bhajan, Swami got it announced that tomorrow, Tamil New Year, day after Vishu, Malayalam New Year. Suddenly, it hit all the students. Oh my God. Today was the last. Oh God, they should have told this before. Today was the last bhajan session. If only I had known, I would have, if only I had known what? Maybe I would have sung better, I would have done when you know it's your last, you somehow give in your best. That's why actually a very positive philosophy that I have found is live every day as if it's your last. Because then you live it in the order of best priority. Because you never know which day is your last. In fact, one person says, live every day as if it's your last. One day you will be proved correct. Because someday it's going to be your last anyway. So now, this person is leading his life as if he's going to die in a year. So his priorities become very clear. Humility comes in. What is the use of anything? Automatically all these come. And so here you have one person leading a very terrible life, one person leading an awesome life. The person leading a terrible life is the one who is destined to be the king. The person who is leading an awesome life, in a spiritual sense, is the one who is going to die in a year. That's why, Swami in his discourses says, Na sukhat labhyate sukham. From happiness you won't get happiness. It is only sorrows that make you true and strong. That is why Kunti prayed. Mother Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas, she prayed to Lord Krishna when he asked, what do you want? She said, Lord Krishna, fill my life with pains. Why? Not enough, the amount of pain you have? No, Krishna, when I have pain only I think of you. Otherwise I don't think of you. So I know the best thing to do is to think of you, so fill my life with pain. In this context, I am reminded of a slightly humorous episode that happened. There was this speaker who had a slip of tongue or slip of mind, I don't know. He was speaking luckily to a private audience in Bhagawan's presence. And he was making a comparison between Swami and Krishna and showing how Swami is more fantastic, more compassionate, more great than Krishna, So one thing that he said was, in Dwapara Yuga, Mother Kunti had to ask Krishna, oh Krishna, fill my life with trouble so that I can think of you always. But in Kali Yuga, compassionate Bhagawan, I didn't even pray to him. He has already filled my life with so much trouble that I think of him always. So you see, Nasukhat labhyate sukham. Joy doesn't give joy. It is sorrows that give us so much joy. And so this person has led an amazing life. And at the end of 1 year, this fellow is not the king. This fellow has not died. So they're wondering what went wrong. So this is the last day. I'm supposed to be a king on this day. This is the last day I'm supposed to die this day. What's this? Nothing is happening. So they both decide to go back to the sage to meet him. When they go to the forest to meet the sage, suddenly they come across dacoits. And these dacoits pursue them. The person who is supposed to be the king happens to be faster or whatever, he climbs up a tree and he's safe. The other guy is caught, he's thrashed and he's left bleeding, and then the dacoits go their way. But before doing that, the dacoits bury their pot of gold under a tree, the same tree on which this going to be king is sitting, and they go away. This fellow comes down, he sees the pot of gold, he picks it, and they both end up in the presence of the sage. One person with a pot of gold, the other person half dead. And they ask, what happened to your prediction, man? I'm supposed to be a king. He says, yeah, you were supposed to be a king, but your actions were such that instead of a king, you ended up with a pot of gold. And you were supposed to die, but your actions were such that instead of dying, you have just been beaten up. So yes, destiny can actually shape our way and make us feel that what is this? That rogue is getting a pot of gold and I have been so good and I am getting smashed. That doesn't mean that our efforts have not counted. Our efforts have counted, but as I said, it's 50-50. This is what I believe in. This is what I feel. This is what I feel is the message when Swami says, what you meet in life is destiny. How you meet it is self-effort. Yeah, you may be destined to die, but you can earn life back. You may be destined to be a king, but you may ruin yourself. Because I remember one Shivratri, 1999, it was absolutely a shocker, a pleasant shock for all of us, because Swami sat and he began to experience spasms, and when nobody was expecting it, nobody had a camera in front, Swami just did the Lingodbhavam and the lingam came out of Swami's mouth. And then Swami said, all those of you who have seen the lingam emerge from the mouth, no more births. We all celebrated. Come on, man, now go do whatever you want in life. Moksha assured there. We would be like that person who was told you will be the king. It's like saying, in the bike they say, you buy this bike, it gives you 80 kilometers per liter. You say, wow, this is an awesome bike, it gives 80 kilometers per liter. So you fill the bike with 1 liter, load 10 people on the bike, and climb a mountain and say, hey, it gives only 10 kilometers. Yeah, there are some conditions. If those conditions are followed, it gives you 80 kilometers per liter mileage. You load the bike, overload it, put all this, do all nonsense, it may even collapse without giving you 1 kilometer. So also, I feel when it is said, when these destined things are said, it is with riders saying that if it continues in the same way, it goes like this, then the forecast is made. But with effort, that can be changed. Now, I have a colleague who works with me at Radiosai, and his life, has been a very cruel one in terms of destiny, but a very inspiring one in terms of effort. He was normal like any one of us, in the sense with his limbs fine, head fine, everything normal. In college, he decided one day, along with a few friends, it was vacation time, Chitravati was flowing. He thought, let me just go and have some fun in the Chitravati waters. There was one portion which was about 5 feet deep. So that was the spot they were all jumping into. 5 feet is a beautiful depth. It's not too shallow to hurt you, nor is it too deep to drown you. You can jump and play there. Everybody was jumping in. This boy jumped in. Unknown to him, because it's not a swimming pool, it's a river. There was one rock jutting out, which hit him on his neck. And the things blacked out for him. He was dragged out of water. And ever since that day in 2006 or 5, I don't remember now, he's paralyzed from neck below. Quadriplegic. He just can't move. He was a good sportsman, good at academics. He used to play, he was tall, he used to drive the car, everything. Raghuram Bhatt. That's it. And even to this day, it is the same. More than a decade has passed now. But instead of seeing that, he says that this is a blessing in disguise. In fact, there's a beautiful book he has written, and if you read it, your heart will definitely well up. A tiny little 80-page book it is. I think it's called Rainbows in My Sky. It's available in our book trust. He writes of his struggle after that, Initially, he writes of his initial life, which might be a little boring to read, but It just shows that it was a normal life. And when we read the second half, the first half becomes interesting because we realize that what we think as a normal life is actually a supreme life. We never think that walking and looking at the sun is a blessing. The ability to see a leaf, pull it down, pluck it and smell it is a blessing. We think these are normal things. These are not normal things. I get up one morning and say, oh my God, my bike is not working. I have to walk all the way to work. Not knowing that Raghuram Bhatt is ready to pay $1 million if he can get that opportunity to walk to work. So, but he didn't cry over it. Of course, there was sorrow, there is that frustration that I am not able to do. But he says this is such a beautiful blessing because he is now an employee of Radiosai. He is working at Radiosai and he just feels that this is an opportunity that Swami has given me to prevent me from getting distracted into the world. You may get distracted by sports. I won't because I can't. That's my advantage, he says. We think, oh, it's disadvantage, he can't play, I can play. No, you have a chance to get distracted. That thing has been cut off for me. I'm forced to focus only on Swami. When he types on the keyboard, he ties a stick to his hand and does this. That's the way he does audio editing. That's the way thing is, he has got a beautiful voice and now he does voice lending there. It's amazing. But see this. This is something that's horrible, but he never portrays it as, he never says, look at my pathetic state. Many people have come and they have told, we want to help you. Our heart, bleeds in compassion. We tell God also, Swami, please do something for him. We think we are more compassionate than God. We don't know, right? We don't know what is the past, what is the future of a person. We just say, Swami, please help this person, Swami says, you are more compassionate, I am more compassionate. God knows better, but we feel like that. We feel, Papam Swami, please help them. My heart bleeds. So many people have come with offers to help him. And his response is amazing. He says, no. I'm getting everything from Swami. Swami is giving me, I don't need, please, no. It's amazing how he doesn't ride a sympathy wave. I'm just inspired. He asks for, he just says, if you don't mind, could you get me a coffee? I feel like, no, don't, just tell me, because, but when you get coffee for him, he doesn't like you feeding him. He says, no, keep it, I'll manage. And he has learned how to, it's amazing. And that's what convinces me that effort matters. You could be, rolling in your self-despair and just say, everything is gone, this is what it is. What can I do? I am everything. God did this to me and I am gone. No. What did God do to you? God gave me an opportunity to focus only on Him. Oh my God. You know what God did? He made him a quadriplegic. If you hear only His statement, you think like this. But that is the power of effort. In fact, there's one more beautiful incident. I have narrated this many times. I never get bored of narrating it because it's so inspiring. It's been recorded by Professor N. Kasturi in Satyam Shivam Sundaram, which I feel it highlights the power of effort. Definitely, if you have missed reading it or not read it, go do read it. It's in part 1 of Satyam Shivam Sundaram, the story of one Krishnamurti, a clerk in the Mysore Secretariat in the British days. He came and he recognized Swami as someone very, very special when Swami was still in his teenage years. He went and told Swami, I know you are not this, show me your true form. And Bhagawan is trying to keep him away. Oh, no, you take him away. They're just, how many people are seated in this hall? Not even those many people were around Swami those days. But Swami is avoiding him. So you see, this is a myth, when you think that those who came in the good old days, they were so lucky. It's not like that. Swami once told a student who went to him, Swami was coming in the car for darshan. When the student got up to speak and Swami lowered the glass and asked what? He said, Swami, when will the good days return? Swami asked, what do you mean good days? He said, Swami, those days when we had accessibility to you, now there's no accessibility. Swami said, don't be foolish in thinking like that. Nobody ever has or had accessibility. Accessibility is only given. And to those to whom it should be given, it's being given even to this day. So it's not that somebody got a better opportunity, there was a better chance of winning the lottery then and now. No. Every person, what he has to get, she has to get when has been decided. Brother Arvind, you said you're 50 effort, 50 destiny. Now you're speaking as if 100 destiny. No, I'll tell you. I'm coming back to why it is 50 effort. Yes, it has been decided who has to get. You're going to get 20 interviews with Swami. You're not going to get anything. But that doesn't put you at a disadvantage in terms of effort. Why? Krishnamurti's story. Because Krishnamurti was not getting that namaskar. In fact, there used to be times I've heard from some of our teachers where Swami would say, come on, now take namaskar and go. This is Swami over, 5 times already over. Why? Because there are hardly any people, and Swami would sleep in the courtyard in the Patha Mandiram. This teacher's grandmother had come to Swami. So Swami's cot will be in the center, he'll sleep with a torch. Midnight he'll get up and put torch all around, see it's safe. People are sleeping all around. And this is Swami, how many we had namaskars? So these were not exactly those days, but a few years later, Pad Namaskar was not exactly some kind of a speciality. You will not say, I went to Swami and got Pad Namaskar. Hey, everybody gets Pad Namaskar. When things are available, we take for granted. But in those times, Krishnamurti is not getting Pad Namaskar. And even people are telling Swami, give Swami, give him Namaskar. He's pining for it. Swami says no. In fact, as Kasturi Garu writes in the book, Krishnamurti closes his eyes and says, I will not open my eyes till I see Swami's feet. I will not open my eyes. And Swami's response, he is mad, you take him home. And he's taken away home. Here are people who are saying, Swami, why so many namaskars? And you go and give them namaskar. And there that person is saying, I won't open my eyes till I see your feet, and you tell, send him home. He goes home. There also it continues. In fact, again, so beautifully Kasturi writes there that he comes out, hires a horse carriage, doesn't open his eyes. He smells his way to where Swami is staying and gets down at the house. He's not being allowed in the house. So he's smelling and going around the house, going to the windows, knocking. He's almost become like a stalker, stalking Swami there without opening his eyes. This goes on for days. After which he becomes so weak because he is not taking food and water also regularly. I don't want anything till I see Swami's feet. He's admitted to the hospital. After he's admitted to the hospital, they go and tell Swami, he's in the hospital. Come on. Swami then allows them to wash his feet and tells, take this water. Swami, why it is indirect? No, come give him darshan, let him see your feet. No, you give this water, it's enough. With that water, Krishnamurti gets strength. Again returns home, but he has not opened his eyes. He has not opened his eyes. He starts singing bhajans, and a bhajan session spontaneously begins at home. At last, towards the end of the bhajans, Krishnamurti finally opens his eyes. He opens his eyes and there's a smile in his eyes. There's a tear in his eyes. He looks at Swami, he smiles, and then again closes his eyes, never to open them again. That's it. The river has merged in the ocean. That was the completion for Krishnamurti. And then Swami says, he was not yet prepared for this ultimate merger. He had to undergo these days of preparation before the river could merge into the ocean. As I read this story, I thought, what is the use of 20 interviews and 150 Pad Namaskars? Krishnamurti didn't get anything. But he got the ultimate objective for which we seek Pad Namaskar. He got it without touching Swami's feet. How? Because effort matters. You can beat destiny with effort. Doesn't matter. I'm not destined to touch you, Swami. I'm not destined to see you, Swami. Doesn't matter. With my effort, I will reach you, Swami. And even you can't prevent that. We feel we have possibly late or we have missed a time because we can't see Swami. Doesn't matter. Because the efforts that can be put in Surdas, born blind, a lover of Krishna, falls into the well and he's calling out for help. Surdas is calling out for help and nobody is coming. Finally, one little boy comes and helps him out. And he says, thank you, my child. What's your name? He says, my name is Gopal. Ah, Gopal. I also have one Gopal. I love him so much. What do you do, Gopal? I just tend to cows. Oh, my Gopal also tends to cows. Aha, okay. Where are you from? I have actually come here, but I'm from Mathura. Oh, my Gopal is also from there. You're such a sweet child. And he touches the peacock feather. Oh, Gopal. And Krishna leaves his hand and runs away. That is when, he sings, Bah chudaye jaat ho, nibal jaan ke mohe. You're leaving my hand and running away, thinking that I am weak. Hirday se jab jaau to, sabal mein jaanu toye. But Krishna, I will not consider you strong because you left my hand and ran. If you are strong, leave my heart and show me if you can. He sings this. Krishna comes back. Where he can go? Destiny might not be there that you will hold Krishna, but your effort can pull Krishna. And Krishna is so happy, he says, Surdas, I'll grant you sight so that you can see me. He says, Krishna, that I already see. What is it that I'm going to gain by sight? I will be able to see the world that will distract me away from you. So Krishna, please grant me the blessing that you will not give me sight. Look at that. What we will consider as a cruel blow of destiny, Surdas felt it as a great blessing from his Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, you have made me blind to the world so that I can only see you. That is what effort can do. Going a little bit theoretical. So these are some experiential and incidental and mythological and historical things that back my understanding of 50% effort and 50% destiny. Actually 51% effort and 49% destiny. Thanks to Surdas and Krishnamurti. Both have shown that 1% edge is there for effort, what I feel. Theoretically it is said that we have karma. There's one huge load of karma that every individual soul carries. And guess how this karma is generated? By actions of previous births. That itself shows that it's not totally destiny. If it was destiny, all should be equal, right? Or else it means God is very partial. Because to some he gave an awesome karma and sent them to earth. To some he messed them up and sent them to earth. It looks like that. If we believe that God is impartial, that means our efforts matter. So we have this load of karma called Sanchita karma, which we are supposed to exhaust across several lifetimes. And they say that the individual soul sits and decides, in this lifetime, this much part I will finish it and come. So all of us have chosen one subset from that superset called Sanchita karma to finish in this birth. Actually, there's this book called Many Lives, Many Masters, I think, if I'm not wrong, or a similar book like this, where, some of the revelations of people when they do past life regression and hypnosis is very shocking, actually. So you'll think that this person has led a good life, which means his next life will be even better life, because he has done a good life, right? Next life should be a more awesome life. If you have led a cruel life, next life will be a worse life. But in that regression, they see very strange things happening. The person who has been a very, very noble person in one life becomes a prostitute in the next life, becomes again a very great guy in the next life. It puts all this action-reaction thing into the dustbin, How can such a good guy become a prostitute? Then how can the prostitute become such a good person? If we look deeper, it strengthens this basic theory that we have in our scriptures, that every individual soul decides that this much of my Sanchita karma I'll burn and come. If it happens to be bad, that small portion which you take and come, that's called prarabdha karma. That's what we call as fate, the fate of this life. Now this prarabdha karma, interesting, you may decide that, I don't like bitter gourd. So I'll eat bitter gourd first, then I'll have the ice cream. So your bitter gourd may be that bad life. I know, bitter gourd is not my favorite. There may be some who like bitter gourd, and they may not like ice cream actually, especially if you're a diabetic. So, but whatever, in my case, I'll prefer to eat the bitter gourd first because I want to end on a happy note. I'll eat ice cream later. So now I have chosen to experience the bitter gourd, though it's bad, no problem, and then enjoy the ice cream. So too from our load of sanchita karma we pick up. And based on the prarabdha karma we pick up, they say that we choose our parents, we choose whether I'll be born in India or Bosnia or Russia or Australia. I'll choose whether I'm born to cruel parents or good parents. I'll choose whether I'm born to a father who will abandon me, or, all this. Because those are the best circumstances to work out my karma. So there we have sanchita karma, the subset of that is prarabdha karma. Which means, as time goes, I will finish my sanchita karma and I'm free, right? So it's just a matter of time. Doesn't matter what I do in life. I can lead my life anyway. As and when my lifetimes finish, I will finish my sanchita karma, I am liberated. It would be wonderful if life was so simple, because there is one third kind of karma that comes to create problems, which is called Agami Karma. Now, what is Agami Karma? Agami Karma is the karma, the reaction that we generate as we are finishing the prarabdha karma. It is said that an avatar or a self-realized soul has no karma. Because everything is being done with the ultimate awareness. When Swami gets angry on you, he is not angry on you. He is just enacting the anger because it has some purpose in your life. When Swami showers his love on you, he is not attached to you. He is just showering love because that is good for your soul's progress. So you see, Swami has no emotions. He doesn't have a like, he doesn't have a dislike. Dispassionately. When I say dispassionately, it doesn't mean without enthusiasm. It just means without attachment. Swami is the most enthusiastic. He does it dispassionately, without any attachment, without any hatred. Such actions do not carry any reaction. There is no karmic backload. But any other action will carry a reaction. And therefore, even though we have chosen to burn this prarabdha karma, in the process of burning the prarabdha karma, we are generating agami karma, which goes back and joins the sanchita karma. So you have got 100, you pick up 10, you come do that, go back, 100 still? Possibly 105 sometimes. Ooh, what did I do? That's why Swami says, Punarapi Jananam Punarapi. There's no end only. And so, there's nothing I can do about sanchita karma. That's there, the cloud sitting there. There's nothing I can do about agami karma. If I have done some actions without the awareness, somebody hits me, forget that. My child makes a mistake and I scold the child. I'm genuinely angry on the child. I'm not showing anger just to correct the child. I'm really upset with the child. Why? Because at the same time, my second child comes and tells something, I shout at the child also, and you also be quiet. Why did the second child have to suffer? No, because that's my anger. I'm not enacting my role as a parent correctly. I'm so involved in my role, I have forgotten that that's a soul and I am a soul. And just that I'm playing the role of a parent, it's playing the role of a child. I've forgotten my role and I've got so involved in the drama, I feel it's real. Because I feel it's real, I face the consequences of the drama also. Once I know that it's a drama, then guess what? If they tell you're dying in the movie, no problem, because I know I'll not die. I can't die. What do you mean? You're dying here. You're being shot dead. That's just the role. My character is dying. I'm not dying. That's what happens in real life too. Once you're realized, there's no karma that touches you. You can't die, you can't be born, you can't get affected in sorrow. My dear one, I can't spend life without you. Done? Okay. Next one. I thought you're emotional. No. That take is done. That's it. So the hatred, the attachment, the love, everything is just a role play. When you're at that level of awareness, then karma doesn't affect you. So there's nothing you can do about agami karma, which is karma that you have performed without this awareness. There's nothing you can do about sanchita karma, because that's the load up there. Therefore, it comes to only prarabdha karma that we can work on. That's possibly the reason why Swami says live in the present. It's the omnipresent. You can't do anything about sanchita, you can't do anything about agami, but you can do about prarabdha. You can change your fate. That's why Swami says what you meet in life is destiny. You have picked it and come. You can't change it. You have only picked it and come. But how you meet it is self-effort. You can work it in such a manner that it will change your sanchita. You will wonder, how can it change my past? It will change your sanchita because when you do your prarabdha properly, there is no agami. If there is no agami, it doesn't go and add to the sanchita. Therefore, your sanchita is in a reduced state. So, though the sanchita looks like the past, when you do something and generate Agami, it goes and adds to the Sanchita. And when you do this, Swami gives a beautiful example. He says, you see, there's a medicine that comes. Your body is the bottle. The medicine inside is your karma. What can you do that's there? Those chemicals, whatever, you have to suffer or benefit from the effects of that. But Swami says what God can do is delay it till the expiry date of the medicine. Once it's expired, that becomes impotent. It doesn't work at all. Swami says God can do that to your karma. He can fix the expiry date if there is God's grace. And I'm reminded of a powerful story, it's amazing. It's amazing. I got to know of this just a few months back. There's this student, alumnus of the university who passed out in the 80s. His name is Harish. Harish passed out and then he became an active volunteer in Vrindavan. He used to do duty at Trai Vrindavan, which is physically very close to Swami. And every time Bhagawan would come to Vrindavan, he will be there. And you know what? At the end of a week or 2 weeks, Swami gives namaskar to all the volunteers who have done duty there. So many times he has received that also. In fact, most of his life experiences have happened during these namaskars and interactions that he has received as a volunteer at Trai Vrindavan. When he reached 27 or 28 years of age, this was in 1991. So he was 27 in 91. His father, got up. His father was a volunteer there. So his father got up and told Swami, Swami, my son has reached marriageable age. Please, you should find a bride for him. Swami said, sit down. Swami continued with the namaskar, went ahead. Another person got up, another father, and said, Swami, my daughter has reached marriageable age. You have to find a groom for him. Swami said, yes. Hey, come here. And that was how Harish's marriage was performed. And year after marriage, when they had gone for a routine checkup at the general hospital in Bangalore, Dr. Savitramma, the bedrock for the general hospital, she was there. She called Harish aside and said, see, there's something that I must tell you. It's surprising, but your wife has a very atrophied uterus. The uterus has shrunk so much, there's no chance that you can ever have a baby. I'm telling this to you because this will be something very sensitive to her. Convey it to her in the best possible manner, gently as possible, so that she doesn't get devastated. This is what he heard. Okay. So he went back and told his parents, this is what the doctor is saying. The parents said, see, Swami has fixed the bride for you. Swami knows the best. So let's leave it at that. And he also said, yeah, Swami knows best. So he left it at that. He didn't even tell his wife. He didn't tell. What's the use of telling anyway? So then 2-3 years passed, and then you know how it is, especially in India. If you're married for 2 years, when is the good news? What good news? India won the World Cup. Not that. Then it starts. They think they're being subtle, they're being very gross, in public functions. So this started for Harish also. He knows the destiny. 5-6 years passed, sometime in 1998, 7 years after the wedding, the parents of the wife, they took her for a medical checkup. Then they got to know what it was. So they came and said, you know what, there's a problem. He said, yeah, I know that. You knew it? You didn't tell us? Yeah, now you know it. What can you do about it? What can be done? You know it, right? Now what can be done? So what's the use of telling? His brother-in-law told him, you're standing there day in and day out there, Swami, you tell Swami. You tell Swami. He says, Swami knows. Swami knows, but you tell. You put in the effort and you tell him. So he was saying, okay, yeah, let's see if I get an opportunity. The next time for this tri duty, this brother-in-law happened to also be there. And when Swami came for Namaskar, Harish, tell Swami, he said. Swami looked and asked, what? He's feeling very embarrassed. He said that I was the only married man there. So he said, Swami, okay. And he decided to go to Swami, part his hair and whisper in his ear, All other bachelors around. Before he could even whisper, Swami said, I know. 7 years and 3 months. I know. 7 years, 3 months. I said, okay. I mean, nothing else is significant in 7 years and 3 months other than this. Swami said, I will give. You don't worry, I will give. So Harish was happy. He didn't have to tell anything. And Swami has told. He said, very happy. So he went and told his wife, Don't worry, Swami has said he will give. So, leave it then. Yeah, it's done. So they were living in that faith. See, when Swami says, the expiry date on the bottle, God can delay it so that the expiry date and reduce the potency of the medicine. Remove the potency of the medicine actually. So, he waited. 1999, 2000. Swami would come to Vrindavan in summer. While walking, he'll make a comment. See Harish, I've told I'll give him child. Yeah, you're told when, when. With Swami, all these doubts come in. Is it this birth you're going to give Swami or next birth? I remember one of my classmates wrote to Swami, not to Swami actually, in Tirupati he went and prayed. He said, Lord, they say you are the fulfiller of all prayers. I want to get admission in Satsangh Institute of Higher Learning in Kali Yuga in the year 2003. And means all this because, I will give you admission. And then there's a story of a person who was praying to Brahma. He prays for 100 years and then Brahma comes and he says, hey Brahma, what took you so much time? And 100, I'm almost dead now, I've been praying. Brahma says, no, I answered you the moment. The second I heard you, I came. Huh? Yeah. Thing is, my 1 second is 100 years for you. Oh, is it? Then how much is your 1 rupee? Oh, my 1 rupee is like billion rupees for you. Give me 2 rupees, no? Yeah, 2 seconds, I'll just be back. 2 seconds, 200 years, So God's time frames and you don't know. So you don't know when you say, give me, when he'll give. So better be very specific. So now Harish's wife also, she was worried, when did Swami say? By 2001, as I said, others are feeling compassion. Swami, please. We feel, no, we are all. Swami is ocean of compassion. We are that ocean with 2 drops extra. That's why we feel for this person. We feel, that's what we say. We don't realize that Swami knows everything. He knows the Sanchita, he knows the Prarabdha, he knows the Agami. Swami said, yes, okay. Finally, the year 2003, they've been married in 1991. This is 2003. And in 2003, they decided to adopt. Maybe this is how Swami is going to give us a child. Not a Kama Putra, maybe a Prema Putra. So they said, yeah, fine, okay. So Harish also agreed. They went to an orphanage. They picked out a child. Before doing all the final sign and all that, he said, no, let's just tell Swami. Because anyway, Swami will be here now. We'll tell Swami that, Swami, your blessing has come true. Yes, I have got a child. This is what he thought he'll tell. Swami comes and that year is a little significant because Swami had a fall and so it's difficult for Harish to get the opportunity to talk to Swami. But whenever he comes close to Swami also, Swami doesn't look at his face. Swami is ignoring him. Finally, the time comes for the Pad Namaskar for all the volunteers. He is now one of the head volunteers, so he has to go to pray to Swami. Swami, please give Namaskar. So when he goes close, Swami says, you don't show me your face. You don't have faith in my words. Oh, he understands. He has not even told about the planned adoption, but this is what Swami is telling him. And then, he wants to tell Swami that, Swami, it's more or less like I have accepted it, Swami, it's fine, but my wife is very distraught, especially since you have already told you will give, No, before he can even say this, Swami tells him, you tell your wife that once Sai Baba tells something, it has to happen. So tell her to wait. So he's happy, he goes back, tells his wife, wait. 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007. You can only imagine the plight of this couple. 1991, 2007. The millennium has changed, You've not got a child. 2008 was the last time Swami went to Vrindavan. At that time we didn't know it, but now when we look back, that was the last ever time Swami went to Vrindavan. And as Swami got out from the car, by now Swami was on the wheelchair. When Swami got out from the car, one of those days Swami looked at Harish and told him, "Hey, you still don't have a child, right? Next year I'll give you a child." Finally, at least the time has come, time frame has come. So he went and told his wife. So now instead of waiting years, they are waiting months. 2009, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Nothing. It's really, it hits you. These are moments when you feel that that's it. I'm fated to be this way. Nothing can change. How can it change? Because God's word is also not mattering. It's almost like Swami tried for 15 years, didn't happen. Then he said, give me one more year. And now that's also over. 2010, the 85th year of Advent. That was a year from Bangalore. They decided that they will hold a Rudra Parayanam in 85 different homes. At least 11 people will gather and chant the Rudram 11 times, so that 121 times one Maharudram or whatever is chanted. More wish to join, they can join. And they will do this in 85 homes. And it was the day when it was being done at his home. And when it was being done at his home, he suddenly, his wife got sick. She became giddy. She collapsed. But he didn't want to stop this, chanting that was going on. And guess what? On that day, Dr. Savitrama was still there at his home. So she took his wife to a room and, she was checking what was wrong. After the whole day's program, she called him aside and said, "Now you have to take good care of your wife." Why? Because she is 3 months pregnant, which means it happened in the last week of December. That was how it was. Actually I don't have time now to go more into the story as to the complications that came in the pregnancy, but finally it so happened, I got to know this story by chance because brother Harish, he now takes care of the Gokulam and the canteen in Vrindavan, the accommodation, and his wife works at the super speciality hospital in the radiology department there in Bangalore. And he had come here and I had to send a copy of my book to somebody in Bangalore. So they said, Harish will come and pick it up from you. I said, sir, when I was in Vrindavan as a student, he was there in Trai. I used to see him daily. So I said, wonderful sir, how come you are here? He told me, I have come to admit my child in primary school, first standard. I didn't know his story. I told him it's a great blessing to get admission in primary school. He said it's a great blessing to get a child. And that's when he told the story. Possibly he was destined not to have a child. Possibly his wife was destined not to have a child. But with his patience, you can wear down even God with your patience. Because God reciprocates how much effort we put in. God sees the effort and not the result. And he had come and his son is now studying in first standard in primary school. He's 50-year-old, but the joy in his face is amazing. And he says that no, our Lord, if he decides, anything can happen. If the Lord can decide and anything can happen, we have to decide to move at the Lord's heart. That's why I say 51 effort, 49 destiny. Swami gives an example, of we think prarabdha karma, what can I do, Anyway, as I'm working out my karma, I'm generating new karma, what can I do? Swami says it's like a bus moving in, Swami at that time gave the example of buses that are coming to Puttaparthi. He says, look at that bus. As it's going, those times the roads were such, as it's going, there's one huge cloud of dust following the bus. Swami says that bus is your life. That is your karma. It's chasing you. How long will it chase you? The minute the bus stops, it will come and settle on the bus completely. That's it. So Swami, I can't escape my karma. I have to keep running. How long will I? Sometime the bus has to come to a stop, right? Jananam, punarapi, maranam can't go on. So how do you stop without the dust falling? Swami says, don't focus on stopping the dust falling on the bus. Swami says, change the road. From a village road, go to the state highway. Dust will reduce. From the state highway, go to the national highway. Dust will not come at all. Swami says, the village road is your karma, the karma marga. You start off, you have to act. No escape from action, you have to act. There is no escape from action. You can't tell action will generate karma, so I won't act. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to drink, you have to breathe, everything is an action. So there is no escape from action. But Swami says, if you move on to the state highway of Bhakti Marga, the dust will automatically reduce. And then the state highway will lead you to the national highway of Jnana Marga. No dust will ever come. Because once you have awareness, the dust can't come. Prarabdha karma can't touch you. No Agami Karma is generated. Sanchita karma gets reduced. And it's a matter of time before the whole cloud gets wiped out. Swami gives this beautiful example. He says, that is why turn to God, turn to Bhakti. You can't get Jnana without Bhakti. Jnana is not a dry fruit, it's a juicy fruit. The juice is Bhakti. It comes through Bhakti. Turn to God. Do your actions for God. A village road will not get connected to the national highway. But a state highway connects to the national highway and a village road connects to the state highway. It will help you. Bhakti will help you move on to the state highway. And it's only a matter of time. Keep going on the state highway. You will hit a national highway. You have to. That's how the roads are in India. Keep going on a state highway. You have to hit a national highway. That's where it ends. Keep going with Bhakti. You will hit Jnana and then karma won't touch you. That is why dedicate your actions to God. Surrender and offer it to God. I think I've got 5 more minutes for my stipulated 1 hour and I'll conclude with this episode. Because this again shows that our efforts in bhakti, in devotion, in surrender can actually alter destiny, can change destiny. This is the experience of Professor Raghunath Safaya. He was a professor here in the college in 1983. He actually was not as such a devotee of Swami. This episode that happened is what made him a devotee from a person who admired Swami. Admirer and a devotee. Difference. Devotee follows what the Lord says. Admirer can just admire. Yeah, I admire you, that's it. Yeah, I have respect for you. But you do what you want, I do what I want. Are we admirers of Swami or are we devotees of Swami? He was an admirer when he came. And he was a master of philosophy. He was teaching philosophy and history here. And I heard this from one of his students, who is a wonderful bhajan singer. He has been part of Swami's bhajan groups. So this student, he had taken up philosophy and Dr. Raghunath Safaya was his teacher. So they also knew that he was not a devotee of Swami. He was actually a devotee of astrology, palmistry, because all this came to him as an ancestral heirloom. His forefathers before him were all great astrologers. And astrology is not something that is to be debunked as, nonsense or rubbish. No, it's a phenomenal science. There is an impact of different stars, planets. The only thing is, it's a sad thing that today people with no knowledge misuse it and use it to misguide people to make money. It has also become a business. Like everything else, spirituality is the best business because there's no cost of investment, there's superb profit. You don't have to invest in building anything. You can make profits. So it's a sad thing. Just because spirituality has become a business today doesn't mean spirituality is nonsense. Just because astrology has become a business today doesn't mean astrology is nonsense. So he was a master of that science and he had these huge books, what they call pothis in Hindi, which has come down ancestrally. And you know what? He had absolute knowledge of his own life. He knows the palms of his hand, knows every line that is there. He was a firm believer in that. So one day when he came to class, apparently, he was in tears, he was shaking, quivering, quaking, and they wondered what happened to him. He had got an interview that morning. And that is when he revealed this. He said in the interview, Swami called him and asked him, "Do you know what decides your life?" He said, "Yes, Swami." Not Abhayasta, means the lines on my palm. They decide my life. Swami asked him, do you believe that commensurate to your surrender, I can change the lines on your hand? Actually, Swami, I don't believe, but I don't want to tell that on your face, Then Swami called him closer, lovingly held his hands and said, tell me, Bangaru, do you believe that proportional to your surrender, how much you surrender to me, that much I can take care of your life and change all this? Swami said, look at your hand and tell what you can tell about your life. He looked at his hand and said, Swami, this is how it is, this is what it is, this line is like this line. He said, all that is fine. All that only tells you what's going to happen. Does it give you a solution how you can change it? No, Swami, this is going to happen. This is what it is. Again, Swami held his hand and said, now tell me, do you believe that if you surrender to me, you can change this? Swami said, look at your hand and tell me what your hand says. And he says, when I looked at my palm, there was nothing. No line at all. No line at all. He says, I know my palm. I have been studying it for years, decades. No other palm in the universe that I know better than my own palm. And I have been doing this. I know every line. They can't go like this. They can't even alter a bit. How did they go away like this? They can't alter so soon. Of course, it alters. In fact, these lines are supposed to alter over years, which in itself shows effort. In fact, there was one student for whom Swami said, look, this is a marriage line, you'll get married and move away from me. He literally put in physical effort. He took a piece of glass and scratched. He said, Swami, I want to alter that line. So see, as such a strong reaction to leaving time, these lines alter. But they had vanished totally. He broke down. He said, yes, Swami, I believe. Swami held his hand again. His lines came back. Swami said, Bangaru, how much you surrender, I'll take care. And Professor Raghunath Safaya was in tears because instead of walking back to his class that day, he had walked back to his room. He had gathered all his books. He tied them in a bundle, went to the well and threw them. They don't matter at all because I am with Swami. That is the thing. Destiny can be hard. It can seem like unchangeable. But we have got two beautiful gifts with each of us. One is the gift of effort. The other, the most grand one, is the gift of His grace. So why not turn our efforts towards winning His grace? Because when He wins His grace, these lines mean nothing at all. He is the writer of the lines. He is the eraser of the lines. Thank you, Swami, for giving us this opportunity to understand this, and therefore maybe put all our efforts towards winning your grace, because your grace is all that matters. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.